It was an unusually bright afternoon in the quiet suburban neighborhood of Maplewood. Birds chirped softly overhead, and the golden sun filtered through the green leaves, casting dappled shadows on the pavement. But amidst this serene setting, tension simmered beneath the surface. Jane, a determined woman in her early 50s, stood with her arms crossed, a look of exasperation furrowing her brow. She glanced at the dug-up utility trench that snaked along the street, an eyesore of muddy earth and exposed cables, the result of a recent construction project that had upended the daily lives of the residents. The town had promised a groundbreaking upgrade in infrastructure, but for Jane and many of her neighbors, the reality was endless noise, disruption, and poorly communicated timelines. On the other side of the trench, Mark, a sturdy man with years of experience in construction behind him, stood with an air of calm indifference. Clad in a light yellow-green construction shirt and sturdy work boots, he held his work gloves in one hand, visibly frustrated by the conversation that had developed between them. Jane had approached Mark, hoping to voice the collective concerns of everyone on the block, but the response had not been what she expected. "Look, Mark, this isn't just about the work order." Jane's voice rose slightly above the hum of machinery in the background. The seriousness of her tone pierced through the vibrant day. "People can't get to their homes. My neighbor's daughter is getting surgery next week, and she needs to access their house without a detour." Mark shifted his weight, folding his arms. "I understand, Jane, but the project has a timeline. We can't simply delay because a few fences are down. There are rules we have to follow. It's complicated." His neutrality only deepened Jane's ire. "Complicated? What's complicated about keeping people informed? You know what this looks like to the community? A bunch of men with shovels blocking the way to normalcy." Jane gestured emphatically towards the trench, her anger bubbling just beneath the surface. Mark sighed, a mix of irritation and resignation in his eyes. They both knew that this conversation was bigger than just the physical disruption. There were emotions, stresses, and mounting frustrations wrapped up in every word. But before he could respond, a sudden crash echoed from deeper in the trench, causing both of them to spin in the direction of the sound. A sharp gasp escaped Jane's lips as she realized two workers had inadvertently overturned a stack of metal debris. "Is everyone okay down there?" Mark barked, his neutral expression shifting to concern. Without waiting for a response, he began to move toward the edge of the trench to peer down, instinctively stepping closer to Jane. Jane stood frozen in place. The scene unfolding before them was swiftly escalating. As they both focused on the workers below, Jane caught sight of something glinting from the mud, half buried and shining beneath the dirt. It shimmered eerily, capturing her attention fully. "What is that?" she murmured, stepping towards the edge of the trench without thinking. The urgency of the situation faded momentarily. All that registered was the object's alluring gleam. "Wait, Jane!" Mark's voice jolted her back, but it was too late. She leaned over to get a better view, craning her neck closer and almost losing her footing on the uneven ground. Just then, one of the workers groaned as he pulled himself out of the metallic mess. "What? What is it?" Mark shouted down, but the worker was transfixed by the object, eyes wide with what appeared to be a mix of fear and curiosity. I think we found something," he stammered, gesturing toward the clearing mud that surrounded the mysterious gleam, pulse quickening as he reached for it. Jane and Mark exchanged a glance, unspoken questions swirling between them. What had they stumbled upon? As the worker cautiously pulled the object free from the trench, the sunlight caught it fully, revealing a strange, ornate metal box, something that looked distinctly out of place in a construction site. The air thickened with suspense as they both waited. Whatever lay within the box could be inconsequential, or it could alter everything they understood about their neighborhood. Jane felt her heart pound in rhythm with the uncertainty surrounding them. Mark's expression hardened, shifting from irritation to a mix of intrigue and concern as he gripped the edge of the trench. "How could such a thing be down there?" he whispered, shaking his head as if to clear it of lingering disbelief. Behind them, the hum of the neighborhood seemed to fade away, replaced by the pulse of anticipation. Something was afoot, and neither Jane nor Mark could ignore the feeling that they were standing at the precipice of a revelation that would intertwine their lives in ways they could never have anticipated. The air thickened with suspense as they both waited. Whatever lay within the box could be inconsequential, or it could alter everything they understood about their neighborhood. Jane felt her heart pound in rhythm with the uncertainty surrounding them. Mark's expression hardened, shifting from irritation to a mix of intrigue and concern as he gripped the edge of the trench. "How could such a thing be down there?" he whispered, shaking his head as if to clear it of lingering disbelief. Just then, the worker lifted the box out of the muck, and a collective intake of breath surrounded them. The box gleamed against the backdrop of the dirt and dust, intricately adorned with strange symbols and old markings, its surface glinting suspiciously in the sunlight. It was unlike anything Jane had seen before. It looked both ancient and foreign, as though it had been waiting for someone to find it. "What is it?" Jane managed to ask, her voice barely above a whisper. She couldn't tear her eyes away from the box. A childlike wonder began to mix with dread. What secrets could it hold? The worker, breathing heavily, glanced at Mark, seeking permission. "Should we open it?" he asked, uncertainty lacing his voice. The gravity of the moment settled upon them, and Jane felt the curtain of ordinary life pull away, revealing the unknown. Mark hesitated. "We don't know what that is. It could be nothing, or it could be dangerous." Even as he spoke, his gaze remained locked on the box. "Yes, but it's also a part of our neighborhood now," Jane interjected, stepping closer to the workers. "What if this is something important? What if its secrets could change how we see this place? We can't just leave it here." Her passion sparked a flicker of determination in Mark's eyes. He felt the pull of curiosity that many would ordinarily shy away from, something deeper, perhaps a sense of duty to uncover the truth that lay beneath their feet. After all, as irritating as the construction had been, their community was shaped by its history, hidden away in layers covered by time and progress. "Let's just take a look," he relented, his bravado returning. He gestured for the worker to place the box onto the ground near the trench's edge. Jane couldn't help but feel a rush of excitement. This was the kind of adventure she had only read about in books. The workers crouched down around the box, Jane positioning herself at the front. Mark took charge, gesturing for everyone to gather closer. "Let's be careful," he cautioned. "No telling what we might find." With trembling hands, the worker lifted the lid, and a collective gasp escaped their lips as they peered inside. The interior of the box was lined with dark velvet, and within it lay an assortment of small, peculiar items: weathered parchment scrolls, delicate glass vials filled with strange tinctures, and an ornate compass that seemed to hum with energy. "Wow." Jane breathed out, the gravity of the situation starting to settle in. "What is this?" Mark picked up the compass, feeling its cool metal against his palm. Inscribed on its surface were yet more symbols, ones that mirrored those on the outside of the box. "I've never seen anything like it," he muttered. It felt heavy with meaning, drawing him deeper into a web of mystery. One of the other workers, a young man with wide eyes, pointed to the scrolls. "Let's read these," he suggested, excitement igniting his voice. "They might tell us what this all means." As the group gathered around, they unrolled the first parchment. The ink was faded, but the letters were still legible. It detailed strange coordinates and locations around their town, places marked with the same symbols as those on the box and compass, promising lost treasures and ancient histories, now hidden away. "Is this some kind of treasure map?" Jane exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with a mix of disbelief and thrill. "It looks like it could be more than that. Maybe it's about the history of Maplewood," Mark replied, a sense of reverence dawning upon him. "What if this box is connected to something important? Something the town has ignored?" The statements hung in the air, heavy with possibility. Suddenly, Jane felt the pulse of excitement pushing her forward. "We have to find out more. This could change everything for our community." Mark nodded, feeling the weight of commitment settle upon him. "What are we waiting for? We need to investigate those locations." As they began to discuss their next steps, Jane felt a warm sensation wash over her, a flicker of hope. Just then, however, as if the universe were alerting them of impending danger, an echo of machinery rumbled in the distance. A group of construction workers was heading their way, their stern expressions indicating they were not there for a friendly chat.
Quick!
We can't let them see this, Mark urged urgently, shoving the items back into the box. The sense of urgency turned palpable, and as they scrambled to cover the box, Jane could sense that their discovery was far from over. It was only the beginning of something far more significant, something that held the potential to weave their lives together in intricate ways they had yet to fathom. Unbeknownst to them, the discovery of the box held not just answers, but also questions and secrets that had the power to alter the very foundation of their community. As they hurriedly concealed their findings, a shadow fell over the trench, signaling that this day was not merely going to end in discovery, but was about to be steeped in trouble. Unbeknownst to them, the discovery of the box held not just answers but also questions and secrets that had the power to alter the very foundation of their community. As they hurriedly concealed their findings, a shadow fell over the trench, signaling that this day was not merely going to end in discovery, but was about to be steeped in trouble.
Quick!
Get the box covered, Mark urged, his voice laced with urgency. He could see the silhouettes of the construction workers approaching, their confidence radiating a sense of authority. The last thing they needed was an inquiry into what they had unearthed. Jane and the others scrambled to push the box back into the mud, covering it with loose dirt and debris. Rock and soil masked the gleaming metal just in time as the first worker reached the edge of the trench, his brow furrowed as he surveyed the scene. "Hey, what's going on here?" The leader of the group, a burly man with thick arms and a hard glare, barked. His presence loomed heavy, sending a shiver down Jane's spine. Mark stood tall, raising a hand as if to defuse the situation. "Just a minor work mishap," he replied, his tone casual but the tension underlying it palpable. "We were checking on the excavation area. Everything's fine." The burly man narrowed his eyes, unconvinced. "Doesn't look fine to me. You all are supposed to be keeping an eye on this. What are you hiding?" At that moment, Jane felt the pressure building in her chest. The weight of the box beneath the dirt felt oppressive, as if it were a secret that could burst forth at any moment. She suddenly recalled the markings. They carried a legacy of their town, and here they were, on the edge of losing a profound opportunity just to maintain peace. Nothing really, she decided, stepping forward to lighten the tension. Just a little snag with the dirt, saw something shiny and got caught up. You know how it is with these projects. The burly man's gaze shifted to her, assessing, then back to Mark. Shiny? What, like nails or scraps? Seems off for a trench site. Exactly. Mark interjected quickly, hoping to divert attention from the buried box. Just cleaned it up, no big deal. You can keep monitoring. We'll keep a lookout too. Jane exchanged glances with the young worker who had discovered the box. The look in his eyes said it all. They could not let this opportunity slip away. As if sensing the magic of their discovery disappearing, Jane took a deep breath and stepped even closer to the burly man. You know, this neighborhood has a lot of history. Maybe it's time the town acknowledged that. Embraced it. Her words hung in the air, heavy with a challenge wrapped in curiosity. Mark shot her a wary look, but the burly man seemed captivated, his steely demeanor softening just a fraction. History, he echoed, the word rolling off his tongue as if it were new and vaguely intriguing. What are you getting at? Jane saw the flicker of interest and pressed on.
Yes.
There are stories buried beneath our feet, literal treasures that could enhance our community. What if we made this construction not just about infrastructure, but also about uncovering our past? And what does that have to do with a shiny piece of junk in a trench? The burly man retorted, but his tone lacked the previous bite. Have you ever thought that maybe we've overlooked what's in this town? Mark chimed in, desperate to keep the momentum going. Those markings, what if they lead to something important? We could turn this neighborhood into something even greater. This took the burly man by surprise, a spark igniting in his eyes. You think you can just sniff out buried treasure during a construction job? There was silence, the weight of uncertainty mingling with a creeping realization that perhaps what lay beneath was far more significant than anyone had anticipated. Jane felt a rush of adrenaline flicker through her. Perhaps this was exactly how the stories of old began, someone daring to dig into the unknown, risking ridicule for the promise of something extraordinary. "Why not?" she answered, their eyes still locked. "Why can't we do both? Allow the construction to go deeper into the history of our community? Let's turn this project into something that honors where we came from." A murmur of agreement rippled through some of the workers lingering nearby, their eyes flickering with curiosity. Ellen, one of the women who often joined the community meetings, stepped forward suddenly, her voice steady and clear. "We could organize community digs or events around it. Highlight this journey. It could build stronger ties among the residents." The burly man hesitated, jaws tensing as he weighed the idea against his responsibilities. "Those things take time and funding," he finally said, uncertainty creeping into his voice. "But I'm intrigued." Jane sensed her chance, the warmth of hope compacting into something tangible. "We'll find a way to collaborate. We can even get everyone involved. This construction project could become a part of our community's legacy instead of just another routine update." Finally, the man nodded slowly, allowing a glimmer of a smile to break through. "All right then, let's talk logistics. But if you're going to dig into the past, be ready for the surprises it might unearth. Not all hidden things are treasures." With that, the shadows of doubt over their gathering began to lift, creating a scene filled with burgeoning possibilities. Jane's heart swelled. She could suddenly see a path forward that linked the town's history and future. As they discussed plans and ideas, though the box remained buried for now, it had already awakened something deep within them, a shared purpose that could lead to boundless discoveries. Little did they know that this alliance would not just alter their summer days, but uncover a truth that was meant to be unearthed all along, a truth capable of reshaping everything they thought they knew about Maplewood. Little did they know that this alliance would not just alter their summer days, but uncover a truth that was meant to be unearthed all along, a truth capable of reshaping everything they thought they knew about Maplewood. With the workers' tentative approval, excitement rippled through the group, forging a newfound camaraderie among them. As they gathered the courage to dive deeper into the town's hidden history, they set the groundwork for a project that would harness the energy of the community while respecting the past. The excitement buzzed through Jane's veins, igniting a fire within her. "We'll start by exploring the coordinates on those parchments," Mark suggested, eager for action. "We need to see if there are locations connected to that box and the symbols. Ideally, the discoveries we make could lead us to a more cohesive story of our town's history." "Good idea." Ellen chimed in, clutching her notebook as if it were a treasure map in its own right. "We should split into teams to cover more ground quickly. If anyone encounters resistance, we should be prepared to advocate for the importance of what we're doing." The enthusiasm was infectious as they rallied around their mission. Together, they mapped out the coordinates, pinpointing the locations adjacent to their community: the old church, the abandoned park, and even the outskirts where the river met the woods. Each place held the potential to unlock secrets buried beneath layers of time. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, transforming the sky into a canvas of gold and amber hues, they mapped out their first exploratory route for the following morning. Mark proposed they start at the old church, an iconic landmark of Maplewood that many had long passed without giving it a second thought. "We'll take a few tools, maybe a metal detector," he said, excitement visible in his eyes. "And if we all pitch in, we can turn this into a community event. We can invite the townspeople to join us and share their memories. There's bound to be someone who knows something." The group agreed, every member's heart beating in sync with the rhythm of newfound purpose. As they dispersed for the night, Jane couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. It was as if they had opened a door to a past rich with possibility, one that had been waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. Later that evening, as Jane sat on her porch, the air still warm from the day, she pondered their audacious plan. With each glance at the crescent moon, it filled her with inspiration. The scent of evening blossoms mingled with a hint of adventure. What lay ahead might not only unveil the history of Maplewood, but perhaps all of its residents as well. Just as she was about to turn inside, her phone buzzed, and a message from Mark lit the screen. Asterisk, can't wait for tomorrow. Let's uncover the past together. Asterisk. On her way to bed, Jane tucked the thought into her mind. This project was larger than themselves. They were at the helm of an expedition that could rewrite their town's narrative. She smiled to herself, filled with anticipation, and surrendered to sleep. The dawn broke, casting a soft light that energized the group as they arrived at the old church. The towering spire reached into the sky, its stones whispering tales of old. They gathered in a circle, tension combined with excitement filling the air. "Remember what we're doing this for?" Ellen called, gesturing to the community members who had come to join them. "We're unearthing not just our town's history, but our shared identity. Let's make this an adventure to remember." Soon, whispers of curiosity and awe buzzed around them like the morning's gentle breeze. Armed with shovels, spades, and enthusiasm, the team dispersed into pairs, digging into crumbled earth, exploring archives, and scanning the surroundings with metal detectors. Hours melted away as they unearthed rusted relics, fragments of pottery, and even maps etched on decaying parchment. Each treasure discovered brought them closer to understanding the rich tapestry of life that once thrived in Maplewood. Suddenly, Mark, scanning the dusty ground near the church's foundation, exclaimed, "Got something." His voice broke through the chatter, drawing everyone's attention. They rushed to his side as he carefully brushed away layers of dirt to reveal yet another box, one similar to the one they had found before, but with a different inscription. The air froze around them as they exchanged eager glances. What secrets awaited? It was a moment that seemed to suspend time, sealing their fates together in an exhilarating breath. As the box was lifted from its resting place, Jane realized that their journey had only just begun. Buried beneath the walls of their history was a legacy far richer than they had imagined, one that begged to be uncovered, understood, and embraced. This was where their adventure truly took flight, a chance to shape not only the narrative of Maplewood, but also the stories and connections among its people. With the sun shining brightly above, illuminating their path, they stood together at the precipice of the unknown, ready to embark on a voyage that might change everything.